Alright, time to talk about Halo Infinite again. Not super happy today. Most of the news with this game over the past couple weeks has been not what I've wanted to hear, and I am not really where I want to be feeling with this game that I thought years ago would be my dream Halo game. A lot of it seems to be disappointing me so far, which I don't want to be talking about. But let's just go ahead and get into the news, obviously with the first one being the release date, December 8th, 2021. Great to have it. Obviously wish we got it a little bit sooner. I do also kind of wish they were doing the whole November 15th, 20th anniversary thing. That would have been really cool. But December 8th, it's a few weeks later, it's fine. Just for me, I think it comes out like a day right after Dying Light 2, which I'm also really looking forward to. But just about 3 more months to go. Good to have a release date. I'm excited. Now, let's get into the big, huge, disappointing news about the game. Obviously, if you haven't heard, there will be no campaign co-op and no Forge at launch, in addition to there being no XP-based progression system. Co-op campaign is planned to be added in Season 2 of the multiplayer, which is going to be around 3 months after launch, and Forge is planned to be added in Season 3, which is going to be around 6 months after launch. It goes without saying that this is terrible, horrible, like some of the worst news I could have imagined for this game. This is probably for me the most disappointing thing I've heard, and there's been a lot of stuff about this game that I have not loved that they've announced. No assassinations, I'm not a fan of. The coding system, I still hate because it's balls. No playable elites. I also really cannot believe they didn't take the opportunity to do that. All that bummed me out, and I was like, alright, at least we're gonna have this other stuff in the game. But now they just keep telling us stuff that's not there, and this just shocks me. Co-op campaign, especially. I'm still in shock. It is one of the biggest aspects of every single Halo game. I, like so many people, have hours and hours and hours of great memories playing campaign with my friends and messing around and doing all the crazy stuff that the sandbox has offered, whether it's fighting like the Scarab in Halo 3 with your friends or going around the open environments in CE or just anything like that. There was so much in the campaigns that they offered, so much variety, and even Halo 5, for all its mistakes, as garbage as Halo 5's story and campaign is, I still, on day of release, was able to go through, and I remember it to this day, playing co-op heroic campaign with my friends and experiencing that story for the first time. And it was such a fun, memorable experience that even though Halo 5's campaign isn't very good, and I really don't like it, I'll still always cherish the fun memories that I had playing that campaign. And there won't be any of that whatsoever for at least 3 months. And it's just, I can't believe it. It's a huge deal, and I think this is a very big mistake. And it's not even like we're gonna have to wait a few weeks or a month until after launch. No, it's gonna be a 3-month wait, and I am not looking forward to it. I think what makes me even more frustrated is I know that we're gonna get some trailer for Season 2 of the multiplayer that's gonna be hyping up co-op campaign returning when it's once again a feature that should have been there at launch. Just like we did for Halo 5, where we were getting the big team battle trailers and the infection trailers and the firefight trailers and all this stuff. And they keep saying, we're gonna do more in a sec, but the stuff about the live service game, I don't want this to be a live service game. There's so many issues with that, and that's just the state of the industry right now, and it's not what I want to be seeing. And that entire feeling of playing a new Halo campaign with friends when it releases, that has been there for 20 years, something that's iconic to the series, is not going to be there. It's completely ruined. And for this being the, it seems like last Halo campaign, for what they're saying is like 10 years, at least for the mainline ones, maybe we'll get some spin-offs or whatever, but it's going to be ruined. It's just, there's no fixing it, and it's just not going to be there, which is incredibly, I can't comprehend that. That is, for this to be like Halo's return, this is something that I can't believe we're going to have to talk about. I can get past the coding system. I can maybe get past the dumb microtransaction stuff. The campaign still seems like it'll be great from what I've seen, especially the story, the Banished, all that I'm still loving. But you can't play with your friends. I'm going to be... Alright. Alright, sorry, I was about to stroke out just because what else can I say? Obviously this sucks, and this is unbelievable news to me that I think I would take a delay. I would take a delay into February or March of 2022 if it meant that we would have co-op campaign. And I think a lot of people, especially from what I've seen in the community, would do the same thing. I will say the Forge is a little bit more understandable. I'm sure Infinite's Forge will be ridiculously complex, especially after building off of Halo 5's. Maybe we'll get AI or bots that you'll be able to put in. I am really excited about that. So I'm not too surprised by the Forge news per se. This I still will think will be a huge detriment when it comes to custom games, and I'm not sure if there will be a custom games browser at launch. I just kind of assumed when they tested it out in MCC that it would make its way into Infinite at launch. It seems like that may not be the case now, but either way I still think this would be a huge community feature that would really benefit the game's longevity, and I'm what can I say, I'm disappointed and just confused, since it seems like the state of Halo 5's launch way back in 2015, and the lack of content in that game was one of the biggest problems. Obviously, it had a ton of other issues, but that was one of the bigger things for me, was just when I went to go play on launch day, there were like, what, 4 playlists? There was no big team battle, there was, and like Warzone, and that was it. And now it just seems like history repeating itself once again, and we're doing literally the exact same thing. I want to be excited for this game, but there's so much news of stuff that's not going to be there at launch that it's hard to really get excited about what I'll be able to do, especially if you're paying $60. Hopefully there is enough campaign and multiplayer content in the game otherwise to carry it until the other features arrive, but we'll just have to wait and see. And we are still waiting on seeing more campaign gameplay since it has been, 14 months, I think, since the last demo that was pretty poorly received by the general gaming community, which is a little concerning, but 343 did kind of talk about it, and they said we will be seeing more campaign gameplay before release, so I guess that's good. Being a bit more positive for a sec, we did get this beautiful opening cinematic for Season 1 of the multiplayer though, which I thought was great. Very much gave me the feelings of the kind of Halo 3, Halo Reach era. The brutes look absolutely perfect. Then again, I think they even said this trailer is supposed to take place in 25, the core Covenant invasion, which kind of makes sense, even though they have newer weapons and they've got the Mark 7. Lore stuff aside, that doesn't make any sense. I still think it looks great. And I especially love the portrayal, which I kind of saw back in the E3 thing of Master Chief, kind of how he was portrayed too, but just how the Spartans are being shown in all the stuff in Infinite is very much how I think they should be portrayed. As kind of heroic, larger-than-life heroes, that there's just a feeling of kind of warmness, but also obviously they're killing machines, and I just think it's a balance that I think Infinite is doing very well from what I've seen so far. Which is something that I kind of feel has been missing, especially from the Spartan 4s. They haven't really had a great reception, obviously, since Halo 4, because there's not much to them so far. So I especially love that, and I think this is going a long way towards making me especially care about them a little bit more. And I can't only say this so many times, but the Mark 7 is a just phenomenal looking armor set still. I think it looks beautiful, especially in this trailer. And the music throughout also was great, especially that iconic piano note from Halo that we've known for years just put a huge smile on my face. And all that being said, I love the trailer, and everything when it comes to the tone of this game, through the iconography, the music, the art style, the visual stuff, all that stuff is looking great, which once again kind of carries over to the campaign, which I think looks very good so far. It's clear now, at least to me, that 343 has a pretty good grasp on what makes Halo what it is when it comes to that part of the game. Again, that has nothing to do with the structure of the online, the multiplayer, state of game at launch, all that jazz, which is, I would almost argue, a bigger deal, because that's what obviously is going to keep the general audience playing, but stuff that a lot of the Halo community has been asking about for years, they seem to still have a good grasp on, which I appreciate. I did also want to hit on some pre-ordering stuff. Obviously, with the release date here, pre-ordering is now available pretty much everywhere, even though it seems like it has been for a year at this point. We also got the limited edition Series X console and the Elite controller. They look pretty cool enough. I do like the controller, but I wish there was a separate one that wasn't just the Elite one, because I don't want to buy a $200 Elite controller. And I'm not completely in love with the Series X design. I kind of feel like they could have done something a little bit cooler, or a lot more drastic if they were doing a big Halo 20th anniversary thing. But I already have a Series X, so I guess I'm not even going to bother getting it, but I still think it's pretty cool. And it's just weird, because I will say I've seen some fan designs online that I think look a lot better and would make me want to buy it a little bit more. But for pre-ordering Halo Infinite and the different editions we usually get with the Halo games, I am, at least so far, also extremely disappointed. At least in the US, as of this time, there's only a standard edition of the game. Most retailers are selling a steelbook version as well for the same price, and yeah, steelbooks are cool, I like steelbooks, whatever, but there's no official collector's or limited or legendary edition guide or anything. There's this abomination right here of a collector's edition that seems to be available only through, I think, EB Games in the UK. But, I mean, look at this. This sucks. It's a lame steelbook cover, a pin, and a $15 gift card, which I'm sure is just to be used for the Battle Pass. It's pathetic. It seems so lazy and thrown together, and I'm sure it was. Again, I don't know if this was just for, pandemic stuff, and we don't really know specifically what's going on with it, but even, it comes with the color blue, because, coding systems, that's where we're at with the coding system. You just get the color blue when you pre-order from pretty much anywhere, so just keep that in mind. But yeah, I'm not super happy about this. I've been looking forward to seeing a new collector's edition ever since I didn't get the Halo 5 one, and I've been dreaming about all the cool stuff they could do with it, all the cool statues they could make, and and again, it is very possible that they're still finishing up an official list of like all the editions, they're still just working it out, and they're just not up for pre-order yet, and they're gonna like announce stuff in the next coming weeks with all that stuff, because we do have 3 months until launch, which is still a decent amount of time. But I do think it's weird that they announced the release date, and you can pre-order the game, but there's only one version of the game to buy, or I guess two if you technically count the Steelbook. But it's just, I mean, I'm disappointed about that. I've dreamed of a collector's edition for so long, and again, the collector's edition from EB Games seems like it's just going to be an EB Games exclusive thing. That's not a standard for real collector's edition. But one, I'm disappointed there's no collector's edition, and two, even as a thrown together collector's edition, it still sucks. So I don't know, I just think it's weird. But is it really that weird? Because are that many people actually buying this game off launch? You are literally paying $60 for a campaign with no co-op for at least 3 months, and that's it. The multiplayer is free for everyone, and the campaign is going to be on Game Pass. So it makes me question why people would even buy this game unless they were just like a die-hard fan that wanted to own it. But Game Pass is really popular, it's a great deal, and the multiplayer I'm sure will be popular because it'll be free. But that just, for me, kind of encourages a lack of there needing to be anything there at launch, because the general audience of gaming is consumed with live service games, and they expect that kind of stuff. And just for Halo fans, where we're used to, before Halo 5, getting games with a good amount of content at launch, it's just disappointing. I don't know, the lack of editions just could be also due to like a decrease in physically buying games, but I don't know, I'm just disappointed about it, and I guess I'm just going to pre-order the normal one, or I guess the Steelbook, but I don't know, it's not what I want to be talking about. And that is where we're at with Infinite. I'm still excited, like I said, no doubt, for the campaign, the story, and the general multiplayer gameplay still seems like it'll all be great. I'm still extremely excited about that. But the lack of co-op campaign at launch is a problem. That is a massive problem. Forge, I can deal with, but I still am worried about how Forge is going to, impact the custom games and this community features for all that. They just need to come out and talk about stuff that's going to be in the game. Also, they haven't talked about anything new. We're getting Big Team Battle, but it's not even like a huge different Big Team Battle 2.0 thing that was kind of been rumored about. It's just a slightly different Big Team Battle, a slightly bigger Big Team Battle, but Warzone was more of an innovation than this Big Team Battle that's going to be in Halo Infinite. Besides that, we're getting 4v4 arena, a campaign that looks phenomenal, but there's nothing new. There's no like new mode. They haven't talked about a firefight returning or like a way to customize firefighters. Just anything like new. It's just so like, I just can't believe that like this is where we're at with this game. The stuff that looks good, but there's so little that they're adding to this game that it seems like it's going to be there at launch that it's disappointing. And it's not even like we just have that stuff and it's on its own. There's also all this stuff we have to worry about now, like the lack of a real progression system outside the battle pass, like the coding system, like the microtransactions, like the live service elements, all that stuff. And it's just not what I want to be talking about with this game. I want to be like, balls to the walls excited, like talking about all the new stuff they're adding, but that's not what they're doing. And I appreciate the transparency with them coming out and saying all this stuff is here, but I also think they need to keep in mind that the reception of this is like deserved, and it's not irrational for people to be upset and saying that they don't want to buy the game on launch now if they're not going to be able to play campaign with friends. I don't want to go on any longer. At least we have a release date now, and at the end of the day, it is a new Halo game, and at least I will be able to play a new Halo campaign. Again, not with friends for 3 months, but I will be able to play a new Halo campaign on launch, and I'm still excited for it. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about all this stuff. I'm sure reception is going to be all over the place with this, but just let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Thank you all for watching. Majestic Gaming.